in that moment when that man to propose to my son, I wish you were there. Because no matter how, even if I screamed, like when bang sharp, even if I was screaming, no one was going to come.
Yeah.
And they knew it too.
Welcome to the Safe Space Chats podcast with Madam Speaker. My name is Perseverance Maremeni, also known as Madam Speaker, also known as the CEO of Self Love. If you're joining for the first time, welcome to the family of healing, self love, and motivation. And if you're returning, thank you so much for the continuous love and support that you are showing me. We are doing part 2 of our story with Bassie. I'm not even going to bother you guys by just telling you or paraphrasing or anything like that. I would just advise you to go watch part 1 so that for context and so that you don't get left behind and be asking questions that have already been answered on part 1. So if you have already watched part 1 and you are now on part 2, congratulations to you. We're going to take it away. We're going to start with the part where you were saying that the police came and took your ID.
Yes.
But also, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Okay, are you feeling more comfortable now?
I'm much calmer now.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yes.
Okay, so you can take it away. We can start from that part.
Oh yes. When after the policeman took my ID, obviously that's when I realized again that no, that I'm not gonna get help here. I have just been attacked and it's scorching hot out. It was very, very hot. In Croatia around August. Actually that's the hottest time of the year that side. Yeah, so I took the little that we had, our small bag. I took my son. Actually, my son had only one shoe. The other one was in the house. Not even one person. Even the police themselves said, "Can we get his other shoe at least?" Because it was so hot. Nobody said anything. They just didn't care. We went to the police station. I actually didn't want to go to that same police station where they worked. I wanted to go somewhere different, because maybe I was hoping that maybe those ones would do something. But they followed me, the police. They followed me to the Uber, to my Uber. And they told the Uber driver to basically take me to the police station. And the Uber driver listened to them and they took me to the police station. When I got there, I sat there. I sat for like 2 hours with other police coming in and out, laughing at me, looking at me, whispering to each other that, "Oh, it's her," laughing. And I saw that I wasn't going to get help, so I went again. We went to book another hostel. So we were staying from one hostel to the other. And I was the one footing the bill. I was the one paying for everything. And I got a lawyer. I had a consultation with him, and he charged me way more than I could have afforded. But because I told him that I won't be able to go on with you because you're so expensive and I don't really have that kind of money. He offered to help me go with him, go to the police station together. And he did, and then he pledged with them to give me for that guy to give me my stuff back, and for them to give me my ID. That's when they gave me back my ID the second day. And I went the following day. That was like 3 days later after the attack. I went to get my stuff, and I was escorted by the police. Okay. They told me that you have exactly 20 minutes to get everything. That's yours and leave. My stuff everything was in the basement. So I just took what I thought was important, like the clothes, and some photos. I left everything.
Because you were not going to be able to.
I wasn't going to take everything in 20 minutes, so I left every single thing. I just took clothes.
And when you take all of that, where to?
I went to another hostel. So Christian and I were sleeping in different hostels every day and paying a lot of money for those hostels because it was summer. So it's like a touristic time. It's very expensive during that time. So, and then I called Christian's father, who was no show, by the way, when everything happened. I told him about the first attack. He didn't even bother to come. So when after even the the day before I went to get my clothes, the day before the attack, I called him. I told him, listen, I'm scared. That guy, the first time he came into the house, attacked me. So, and the police didn't help me get my clothes. They didn't help me. They didn't want to help me. So I want you, as a man, as Christian's father, to come and help me. And he was like, you'll have to pay me because I don't have money.
Sure.
Yes.
Your own husband?
Yes. And he said, you have to pay me, like, pay for my gas and food because I don't have money to come there right now. And I said, okay, I also don't have money because I've been kicked out. My son and I are homeless. So even right now, as I'm talking to you, I have to choose between feeding Christian or giving him
Shelter.
a shelter. And he said, well, there's nothing I can do.
Sure.
I actually recorded one of that conversation. If you want to, I'll give it to you afterwards. And so after I got the clothes, I told him that we have the clothes now. You have to come so that we go to the embassy together. So like you can sign the permission for Christian to come with me to South Africa. Again, he wanted me to pay, and I did pay.
Sure.
That time I had to pay for him to buy gas, and when he came, I had to pay for him to sleep in a separate hostel. And then, he wanted me to buy him some alcohol and food, and then I also paid for that. And mind you, everything that I was paying for came straight from my pocket. No family member helped me. No government helped me. I was doing everything. And I didn't even have money because you remember in July, I came back to South Africa to fix the card.
Yeah.
So I spent money for that too. So I didn't really have a lot of money. I was using everything I had on my savings account. And we went to Budapest together, me and him. On the way, he kept making demands that I have to give him this amount of money if I want him to sign papers for Christian to come to South Africa. And every time I would say no, or we would argue about it on the way to Budapest, he would stop the car, take videos of me saying that he's going to show them at the embassy how crazy I am. And he's going to ask the embassy, the South African embassy, to call Croatian police so that they can tell them how crazy I am. And I was like, okay, you can do all of that, but it's late. We have to get there on time, because I booked a hotel, and if we get there after 12, they're gonna mark us no-show and I'm gonna lose my money, which is what happened. When we got there, I lost around 8,000 because I booked for 5 nights, but because we came late, it was a no-show.
Sure.
Then I booked another hotel. We had to share that hotel. The second day, that's when we went to the embassy, and luckily, to my surprise, they told me that the Christian's visa is going to be ready at 2. Before he was about to sign, right there at the embassy, he was whispering in my ear, don't forget that you're supposed to give me amount of money. Give it to me now. And I was like, just sign. I'll give it to you later. I don't have money now.
Sure.
Then he signed.
And is there a South African embassy there?
In Croatia, no. That's why we had to go to Budapest. And then they gave me the visa at 2, and then we had to book a flight. Even that, I had to book with the last money that I had. Then I also had to pay him again to go back to Croatia.
Sure, because you're saying it's 7 hours drive.
Yes.
Sure.
So, and he drove us there. Yes.
And isn't there any sort of like remorse or anything like that from this guy? Because all of this trouble that you've been through, it's all because of him.
No. Even in that hotel, in that hotel that night, he was busy taking videos of me crying. He was like taking videos and calling his sister on video call to show her that I'm crazy. Look at her. She's making a scene. She's crazy. And we booked a flight and we came home. You know, I in in Croatia, like in Europe, even Croatia, going to Budapest, I wasn't now like there was a time when I just didn't cry anymore, but not because I wasn't hurting, but I realized that if I kept crying, I was going to delay things. I had to now. It was just like sort of like an out of body experience. Or I have to get this done. I get like it's an high. You know, I had to get this done. I have to do this done. So when I came home, then my dad and my little sister, they were waiting for me at the airport, and that's when I just let it all out right there at the airport.
Sure.
And at the time when I got here, the time it gets an high, I think even a lot of people online, they thought, oh, we're happy you're safe now, you're back home, everything is okay. That's when like everything that happened, Croatia started to really, because I couldn't sleep. At that time, the time I could go, I think it didn't really affect me because I was thinking just with my head. I wasn't trying to be emotional. So the time I get an high and thinking back at everything and how everything happened, gonna like the real struggle began.
Sure.
Because my son was no longer the same. He's no longer the same. Even the time when we were at the, like hostels, like we had to change. We had to go from one hostel to the other every single day. It's like he also knew because he would just pack stuff before we even had to leave. So no, like when he sees people, strangers, he acts scared. He's not like he acts, but he is scared when he sees,
scared,
especially men. He's no longer the same. He's no longer the same child that
he was like.
Yeah. And he's, even though he's going to counseling, I don't know how long it's going to take. For me personally, I don't know if I will ever forget or get over what happened.
Are you also attending counseling or therapy?
No, I think what will help me is not counseling. What will help me is some sort of justice.
Sure.
If the people that did this to me and my kid, if somehow they are brought to book, maybe I will feel better. I'll be able to sleep at night again.
You said earlier on that off camera that the South African Home Affairs is the one that actually helped you.
Yes.
How?
Because I contacted Mr. Lisa Munyela on Twitter, and he's the one who really, I feel like, got the ball rolling because before I contacted him, I was in communication with the embassy. I don't want to like say the embassy per se, but the lady that was working there at the embassy called me. The police, I got the message from the police, and they told me that you were very problematic. They told me that there were fleets of men coming in and out of your apartment, like basically insinuating that I was a prostitute.
Sure.
They told me that you've damaged the apartment. So anyway, just let us know when we are done filling in papers so that we can try to fast track your son's visa ban. And then I asked them, hey, so are you going to do your own independent investigation? Because the same police chief that told you, that tried to insinuate that I was a prostitute or I ran people's apartments, he's the same one that found nothing wrong with them stealing my ID. He's the same one that came to me when they knew that I was attacked. They saw that I was attacked. They did nothing about it. They didn't even ask to check because there's CCTV footage in that apartment. They didn't even bother to check the CCTV footage. They didn't bother to hear my side of the story. They came in there and then instantly did what they did. Vilified me immediately. So, of course, was I surprised that they said those things? I was not. I just had a feeling that they would.
Yeah. Sure. And they treated you like an animal in that country.
Yes. I wasn't surprised that they would label me as difficult as a prostitute, or because I've heard those things being said to me before. And I don't think I will be the only woman of color that sides being labeled those things. I've heard them many times before.
Sure. Do you think it's much better for you to struggle when you are at home than in a foreign land?
To struggle in terms of like generally, or with what happened to me?
What happened to you?
It is a bit better, but the fact that people that did this to me got away with it, and they are now even threatening me.
Okay.
Like, they're threatening that if I don't delete the videos that I posted on my TikTok account, they would involve international police, European police, and I will see what they were made of. Doesn't make it any better. And it's not the threat themselves that scare me. I'm not scared of the threats. It's the fact that, these people know that they got away with it and they still tormenting me.
And what about so many other women out there, or just people of color who are going through all these things and they're getting away with it?
They are. I think so, because I do have few friends of mine that are still in Croatia right now that are going through what I went through. Yes.
Would you say that maybe for you, you'd say that you were being discriminated because of your color?
When he was hating me, he was calling me the N-word. He was even calling me that in front of the police, the same police that took my ID.
Sure.
So for sure, it was very blatant, for sure.
Sure. So when you get home in South Africa, where do you start?
Well, I obviously try to put our lives together, put my son in school, go to therapy, and continue to work for my son, and because it's not going to stop. I'm still going to try to give my son the best life. I'm still going to try to give him the life that I never had. That's all I want. That's all I've always wanted since he was born. I always wanted him to have that quality, like life that I never had. Even now, with just me being a single mom, I don't want him to feel like he needs. Yeah, I don't know if I would be saying it. I don't want him to feel like he needs anything. I will just try to. Yeah.
Are you still married to this man?
Yes, legally in Croatia. Yes.
Only there.
Yes, we didn't register the marriage here in South Africa.
That doesn't affect you in any way?
No, because we were only married that side.
Meaning that he's probably going to be the one that would have to reach out if he wants to get married again to somebody else, to get divorced to you.
Yes.
Has he tried to reach out since you came back?
He continued insulting me. He was even part of the people online on my TikTok comments.
Really?
Yes. He was insulting me on my TikTok comments and saying that, your kind likes to cry racism. Why don't you ask her what happened? Why don't you ask her to tell us the full story, to tell you guys the full story?
Sure. Mama?
Sure. Yeah. And him commenting like that, what picture does it paint for you about him?
I wasn't really surprised. Well, he's always done things that shock me. I mean, this is the same man that would throw me outside, while out of the shower, straight from the shower outside, while there were people outside. He would throw me out. We would go to the beach, and he would take 5 liter bucket, not 5 liter, like 2 liter, those small ones, the ones that kids used to put sand. Make sure that the sand is full, and then pour it on top of my head in front of everyone. So of course, I was gutted to know that it was him doing this. I was already disappointed that he didn't come when his son was being attacked, when we were attacked twice. The fact that he said this obviously still hurt me, but was I surprised? No, I was not surprised.
Do you think this man ever had any love for you whatsoever in his heart?
No, I don't think so. I think he loved the idea of having someone to torment. I think he loved the idea of having someone totally under his control. And I gave him that. I gave him my whole life for 5 years. Because in my head, and it's not because I was in love with him until I got pregnant. That love faded with every punch he gave me. And then as the years went by, I just really, really was trying to leave. But that thought of, what are you going to do alone without him? You don't really have support. How are you going to handle being a single mom? And what about that dream that little Bassie had of having her kids live under the same roof with mom and dad? What about that? And that's why I stayed for so long. Was there love? No. I don't think there was love in my heart for him. I just hope that things would change and maybe I would love him again. And eventually I got to realize that I was torturing my son and myself in the process. And now that I'm back home, I feel so much safer that I'm far away from him. I feel so much safer that I'm far away from Croatia. Because before the attack happened, I was even saying on my TikToks that I cannot wait to come back home. My plan was, after moving out from my marital home, was to just stay in that apartment until I got Christian's papers fixed. Because I was trying. I even got lawyers to come and help me fix Christian's papers, visa papers. We went to the High Court and we were actually waiting to hear from what the Home Affairs were going to say before all this happened. So after that, I was planning that I was going to come back home. That's what I really wanted to come back home. I was not happy in that country. The racism in that country was just unbelievable. Oh no. That's why most of the time I was traveling outside of Croatia. Because when I was outside of Croatia, I felt so much at peace. Yeah.
And the fact that you are married to one of them is making things even worse, to say the racism or just you feeling like you're not even a human being. It's not only coming from the outside, it's also coming from inside the house.
He would, you're right. I think if I had married somebody else, maybe went to Croatia with somebody else, maybe the experience would have been better. Maybe if I went there with somebody that really loved me and respected me and wanted to protect me, maybe everything that happened would have never happened. This guy we would go to the zoos together. Then we would enter like maybe Mohanan Lidi monkeys, and we would back with the African safari or something like that. Then when we were getting out, there was a time where he said, "You don't have to go inside to see the monkeys in the zoo. There is one," pointing at me, telling those people that were coming in, "You don't have to see the monkeys. There's one."
His wife.
Yes. And I asked them, why would you do that? And you're like, I was just joking. Can't you take a joke? You're being dramatic.
That sounds like a narcissist to
Yes.
me. You were saying that earlier on that you actually came back on part one, right? You said
Yes.
that you came back to South Africa to fix your Capitec card so that you can go back to the country. And on that part, I was actually thinking to myself, the effort of you coming back here to fix things to still go back to that country, was it because your son's papers were not yet in order that was forcing you to actually go back to that country?
Yes. If Christian's papers were in order, I would have just came with him. But because we were waiting for the High Court ruling, I had to come back here and try to fix the card so that I could give him the money how he wanted it. And I went back and I was attacked in front of my child.
So literally you stayed longer than you should have because you couldn't leave your son behind.
No. Even when I came to South Africa, I left him with his dad. I paid for that, by the way. Again, I paid for him to be with Christian when I came to fix the card.
And God, only God knows what he'd been through with the couple of days that you were this side.
Yeah.
And during this time, you were not even sharing this thing with anybody?
I was sharing with my best friend. Yeah.
Okay. You said that because you've been speaking a lot on TikTok, you know.
Yes.
And we also spoke about this off camera to say the attacks, they're beautiful, they're good, and there's the positive and the negative side of you being able to share your story openly on TikTok before or any other platform. Before we get to the part of the justice that you want to see for yourself, can you tell me how the experience of just you sharing your story has been like, you know, the response from people?
The first video that I posted, I didn't think about anything. I just wanted to post it so that people could tell that if something happened, they'll know this is what happened. If I just disappear, that video would be the first trail for people to like start asking questions. But I posted it. I posted that video and went to Budapest. So on my way, I was just worried about how I'm like, was it gonna be received? What will I be? Am I gonna get the backlash or what? But and I thought to delete it. And I called my friend, and she said, you know, you need people to you're reaching out for help. So don't delete anything. That's your truth, and that's what I did. Then when I came back, obviously it happened, and then I did a video again. I posted them again. The reactions were mixed, but I'm just so grateful that if it wasn't for me putting those videos out there, I don't think I would have gotten Mr. Clayton Munyela's attention or the Home Affairs attention. Not that they came to me because they saw the videos trending, but I think it was a lot of people like sending them, pleading with them to help me. And they're like, okay, they probably thought all these people are coming in with the same name, so something serious must be happening. And so that's the good part of me exposing my life the way I did. The bad part is obviously somebody that does not know me telling me that I posted my son and myself in the state that we were in for attention. You see, now that one hurts me a lot because I would never, ever in my life post my child like that or put myself out there like that for attention.
Whose attention, and how they're going to help you anyway?
Yes, I would never post myself like that for attention.
Sure.
I felt as though that I was being vilified for sharing my story, for the fact that I had been attacked. And the most important reason why I posted my videos was to get help. I was reaching out to people for help. But I got a lot of messages on my TikTok DMs of girls from Europe, Eastern Europe, telling me that, Bassie, I'm in the same predicament, and I'm very happy that you posted this. Now people will now see that what we were talking about was true. So also I'm also doing this so that other girls, like other young women in South Africa or women of color, watched my videos, even this podcast, and take something from it. That, before you leave the country with somebody, before you go and move and live somewhere else, do the research of where your research about where you're going. Because, you're going there alone. Nobody's going to be there to help you. And you'll have just yourself. So be careful and make sure that you know the person that you're leaving the country for.
Do you believe that, or do you feel like when you posted the very first video, because obviously you were saying that you just wanted to get it out there as evidence, did you feel like somebody's going to come and get me, or nobody's coming to get me,
I felt so helpless because when they took my phones, I mean, they knew that what they were doing was wrong, or else they wouldn't have taken my phones. And so I wish that there was somebody that would come, because there were people upstairs. I was living downstairs. People were there. If they wanted to help me, they would have came down. Even when they heard me crying, when they heard the punches, the kicks, the racial slurs, they would have came. But they didn't. Even when they heard my son cry, they didn't. And I just felt like I was in a lion's den. I'm sorry to say this, I just couldn't believe that time as it happened. Even though, like, when they took my child 5 years ago, I knew that was, like, I felt that it was evil. But now when it happened again, when these men were doing this to me in front of my child, I just could not believe this kind of evil existed.
Sure.
Even right now, as I'm speaking to you, in my whole 28 years of living, I saw and went through like so much, but nothing come close to what I went through.
Sure.
Nothing come close to what I went through in Croatia.
My heart breaks when I look at you, because I know how it's like to be discriminated in one town of one province.
Yes.
Like, I thought I've been through a lot, when I was discriminated against in one town in the same province that I come from. And I felt so helpless. And you were discriminated in an entire different continent.
Yes.
And you were here.
Yeah, but I'm sorry you went through that. I was reading a lot of comments from mostly black men on my TikTok comments, and they were like, he would have never done that if I was there. They would have never did this if I was there. And I was just thinking to myself, I wish you were there, because they would have never. In that moment, when that man took propose to my son, I wish you were there. Because no matter how, even if I screamed, like when Bang Sharp, even if I was screaming, no one was going to come.
Yeah.
And they knew it too. But I thought for him, Christian's voice is not loud, it's not as loud as mine. But I thought the voice I have to them would be heavier. But no.
Sure.
My son, the time when we were already thrown out, I had only one shoe. Not even one person came. Like, is he thirsty? Does he need water? I mean, if you see in one of the videos, he appears and he was half naked. He was topless.
Yeah.
And it was extremely hot outside. Not even the police, not one person said, do you need me to put his shirt on for him?
Yeah.
No one.
Sure.
And in that 3 days, 3 to 4 days, when the time really good, 3 days actually, when we were in Rijeka, that's the town, we were parading around with dirty clothes from one hostel to the other with dirty clothes because I only had money for a sandwich and a hostel. I couldn't afford to buy him clothes.
Sure.
But maybe that was also the intention, to humiliate me, to humiliate us.
But why?
I'm still asking myself the same question. That's the struggle now. Why? Oh, I should have done this. I should have boiled water. I should have, but it was 3 men against 1, and there was nothing Christian could do. I'm just so scared that Christian now is going to grow up with vengeance, and that's not what I want for my son. Obviously he taught his kids to do. They helped him do that. I would never raise my son to be that kind of man, to see me attack anyone.
Sure. My heart bleeds when I think of the fact that you are one of many.
Yes.
For you to be able to, how many people are buried in open graves in foreign countries because nobody's coming to get them, or they feel like because our government is not strong enough to protect our people, they can get away with treating us like dogs and animals and all that stuff.
Yes.
Whereas the same people, when they come into our country, they're treated like
Like kings.
royalty.
Yes. Yeah, and they know.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I heard a lot of people on the internet tell me that South African embassy did its thing. I can only give credit to me and my son being able to come back home safely, to Mr. Clayton Munyela, who made sure that this process was fast-tracked. The lady at the embassy, I don't know if I should say the embassy, but that lady who was handling my case, she was unbelievably incompetent. And if there's anyone watching this podcast right now and they are overseas, maybe in those Eastern European countries or anywhere, and they are in destitute, I would really advise you to seek help elsewhere first before you can think of calling the embassy, because I don't want to sound negative or anything. I've been through that. They are most likely not going to help you.
And the painful part is that you actually find out when you're in the time of need.
Yes.
That you're not gonna get the help that you need.
Yes. It's like we are giving them too much credit. Like she even said it to me that you are overestimating the capabilities of South African embassy. And when I got there, the first time when I told them that when I went there, I told them that I want to leave immediately. I'm not safe there. They were like, "Oh, well, we can't really help you with accommodation. We can't do anything." So imagine if I had no means to get a hostel or even book a flight, I would have still probably been there.
Or even died.
I would have died, yes, in the streets.
Because for the same situation with somebody who didn't have a single cent, like the same way where in South Africa you can walk around without having a single cent and you can just, but how are you supposed to die in a foreign country now?
That's the same question that I asked her. And she said, well, our resources are very limited. And for me, what shocked me the most was when she told me that, well, they basically labeled you as a prostitute and you messed their house. And that's it. We closed the case. That's what they said. Now we close the case. Yeah, that they told me this, and now we close the case. The same people that I called her so that she could beg them to give me my ID. The police couldn't even give his name to her. She told them that, hey, listen, this is my name and I'm from the embassy. Please give her her property back. You don't have a right to take her property. Can I have your name? They refused. That to her was not a red flag, maybe. She took what they told her, no independent investigation, nothing.
Sure.
Yes, and that was it.
Do you think that because of that, because of our negligence in the country or our embassy, it gives these people the right to treat us anyhow?
I mean, they probably heard about how incompetent African governments are, and that's why our people are swarming their continent. That okay, we are supposed to treat them like this. I mean, he even said, the guy, the landlord, when she was talking to the police, he thought I wasn't hearing them, but I can hear probably 30% of Croatian. He was telling the police that we are doing them favors by welcoming them. They are from poverty-stricken countries, and this is how they act. They act entitled when they get here. I don't know why this ends even come to Croatia, because they usually go to Germany and Italy. Yeah.
Sure. Sure, sis. For you to be able to sit here today and share this story, it amazes me. You are literally bigger than you think. You're stronger than you think, because there is no way.
Thank you.
So in terms of you just wanting justice, what do you think, or what do you think should be done, rather?
I want the Croatian police department to be brought to book, to be held accountable for what they did, for their negligence in this case, and for that man too, for what he did to me and my son.
Sure.
The fact that they got away with it hurts me now more. It hurts every day. I don't know if I'll ever be able to just move on and heal, but maybe them being brought to book will be a good start to me healing.
Yeah.
My son, I will do everything in my power now to make sure that he gets the counseling that he deserves, because I just want him to be a normal kid. Yeah.
But you also deserve that healing, you know? I feel like even with you trying to get your justice, let them do them parallel, you know?
Yes.
Fight. I love that. I love the fact that you have this fighting spirit, which you should. But at the same time, you also deserve what you think your son deserves. You deserve that as well.
Yes, I do pray a lot. I actually even pray to God to help me be able to forgive them, because at least if one day I forgive them, if I forgive them, maybe I'll just be able to move on. But I can't forgive before justice. Yeah. And I will consider a therapy. To be honest with you, I don't know if it will help. I think what will help me would be justice.
Yeah. No, we do have people that we are working with that hopefully will, be able to see how they can help. Okay. Maybe then you will decide whether you want to continue with therapy or you just want to put that aside for now until you get your justice. But I would say if you can, push both of them, because at the end of the day, a healed parent becomes the best parent for their child, If you are stuck in a position where you are still hurt and you are not moving on and you are saying that your child should get the healing, the child who gets healing and comes back to a mother who has not yet healed means absolutely nothing.
With open wounds. Absolutely, yes. Yes.
So maybe if you can just do that part for your son, so that at least when he's getting his healing as well, you are also able to receive him well with wounds that are dressed,
Absolutely, yes.
for that.
Yes.
I think you should consider it.
Yes, yeah.
Dibu, I don't know if there's
Absolutely
anything
right.
I'm leaving behind on your side. You're good. Mama?
To highlight is that for the people that we work with and those that we have not started working with, please reach out for the child. Ndibu, surprise, was just saying that she flushed a toilet and the child was closing his ears because of the noise, So if we can, please just reach out and let's just get him help. Yeah, at this stage.
Okay. I think Mina, on my side, is there anything else that you feel like we're leaving out that you want to cover?
No, I just want to reiterate that to my South African women, to my sisters out there, not only South African, to all my black sisters out there, please, before you embark on any journey with somebody that's not of our culture, that's not living in our country, or like if you have to now move overseas, that's a very, very big step. That's a very big step. So just make sure that you are very sure of what you're doing. A thorough research is extremely important when you move overseas, because some people don't make it out alive. So please do your research before you go anywhere, and make sure that you made peace with it before you go. Follow your instinct. If your heart says no, follow your heart. Yes, that's it.
Do you feel like that's the part that you actually missed out on? Like you
Yes.
just doing your research?
Yes, I got married when I was 21 years old. My estranged husband, when we got married, he was 41 years old.
Sure.
And he had already been married before. So, and his friends, like I said again, want me. But as a 21-year-old who just wanted that fairy tale white picket fence, kind of like setting or like life, I didn't think about what, like the worst case scenarios. I was just thinking I'm going to have my kids, I'm going to be with my husband, I'm going to have what I didn't have growing up. I wasn't thinking about the worst case scenarios. So that was my mistake. If had I done that, I probably would have never left South Africa. Yes.
Do you think there are certain people, maybe even family members, that maybe could have helped you decide or just advise, or you were just not willing to listen to anybody at that point?
At that time, I don't think they would have even like said something, because they know I wouldn't have listened to them. I was so focused on what I was doing. Nobody was going to tell me anything. 21 and naive. Yeah.
And also now, after everything that has happened to you, how do you feel about traveling, like in general, not just in a specific continent?
Well, Madam Speaker, I'm a very open-minded person. So let's say, since Ndivu hurts me, I won't stop coming to the area that you guys live in because she hurt me. Because I know that, that's in one person. That was in one incident. So I'm not saying you hurt me.
She could never had a fly. This one, all she does is just gossip. Yeah. That's all.
So no, I will still travel. I will still travel. I like to travel a lot. So, but I'm really excited to travel around Africa, because I've never been anywhere in Africa, even the neighboring countries. I've never been. So yeah.
Okay.
But I know it sounds a little bit contradictory when I say, oh, just because one person hurts me doesn't mean you shouldn't go to the other places.
Yeah.
I would advise, especially African women, to play far from East Europe. Black women in general. It's not safe to go to East Europe if you're going to live there, especially if you don't have any protection.
Sure.
It's really not safe. So it's safe for vacations,
Yeah.
but for living, I wouldn't advise.
Maybe if you are literally just moving on your own accord, not because you are moving because you're marrying to somebody, where you
Yes.
can maybe stand independently. And if, let's say, for example, if you were moving there because you got a job,
Yes.
do you think it would have been different compared to you moving there because you're getting married?
You know, but you see, now I was living alone, right? In that apartment. I wasn't now with a husband. And look what happened to me. I wasn't there with a husband where I stayed now. I was attacked because they knew that I was just alone with no husband, with no brothers or nothing. So it's still not safe, even if you go there
Work.
to work, because they will still know that you are alone and vulnerable.
Sure. I know I'm learning my lessons, guys. I'm also learning because, we all obviously want to travel out there and do whatever, but I appreciate you being able to be brave enough to share your story and also just raising this awareness so that people can actually, think twice. But I know that in most cases, people can be so ignorant to say, listen, that's your story,
Like
it's
I
not
was.
mine. Yeah. Probably if somebody like you was going to come and say to you, listen, this is what happened to me, you're going to be like, no, that's your story, it's not mine.
Yeah.
But I always say it's better for the story to be out there
Yes.
instead of us just saying every man for himself.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying that what you're doing is big. If I had to speak for myself against a town which is in a small province,
Yes.
in just one country, and you are literally speaking not only for South African women who are in Europe or any
Yes.
other continent,
Yes.
you are speaking for all women.
Yes.
You understand? So
Yes.
that's why I'm saying that it's brave and it's big what you're doing, because somebody's going to watch this video from a completely different continent and a different country who's a person of color.
Yes.
And they understand that, even if you understood the language of where you're going or whatever, but this can actually happen to you, and you might not even live to tell the tale. And I do believe that God saved your life
Absolutely.
so that you can be a testimony
Yes.
and save more of his people. So in as much as you went through so much, nobody deserves to go through what you went through. But at the end of the day, you went through it. It happened. And you could have sat on it and said, I don't want to share. But you being able to say, I want to share and I want to get my justice. But at the same time, I want to raise an awareness and make other people aware of this. That is so big of you and so selfless. And I want to thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
You're most
Thank
welcome, sis. Can we wrap it up? We're gonna go. Okay. Yeah. No. I think. Okay. You wanna add something else?
Yes. Because there's a lot of women that came onto my TikTok DM telling me about their stories. If you're watching this right now, I want you to please don't be scared of what people are gonna say back home. Don't be scared of what your mother's neighbors, your aunts are gonna say, what your friends are gonna say. That doesn't matter. What matters is you, your children, if you have children. That your safety is way more important. Those people are gonna talk for 1 week, and then the next week they're gonna have a whole different topic to talk about. You have to put yourself first and your children first, and please just get out there. Get out while you still can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be brave enough to speak.
Yes.
Like it's a lot of people are dying on the inside, not because there's no help out there, but simply because they are afraid of what people will say and how they will be judged.
Yes.
It's literally one of those situations where you just gonna have to be okay with the fact that I'm gonna be judged.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if I'm gonna get help,
You have to expose yourself out there.
yeah,
You put yourself out there. Yes.
yeah, the good and the bad.
Yes. That's the only way you can come back home. That thing of abantu bazotini, please, that's your life.
Yeah, sure, sis. Yo, thank you so much for sharing with us. Bazalwane, if there's any way possible that you can help us, I know you guys are connected. Like, apparently my community is so rich, guys. I have so much faith. Like, I thought, like, on a, country scale, we can do pull stops and all that stuff. But I trust and believe that you guys are going to come through for us on a global stand. And we're going to be able to see how we can help. If there's anything you can suggest, please do hit us up. There's a number that's appearing on the screen. Guys, I'm not good with numbers. So the number is going to appear on the screen that you can actually reach us on. And also you can visit our website, www.madamspeaker.co.za. And just see if there's anything that you can suggest, any way possible that you can help, please do, so that we see that our sister gets justice. But also, not only should she get justice, she should also get healing together with her child. And also, if there are any other people out there who are facing something similar, please don't be afraid to reach out so that we can speak and expose what needs to be exposed, so that if action has to be taken, then for people to be safe, then we should do that. With that being said, thank you so much. I want to send a big shout out to my sponsors or my partners, which is, you were about to switch off that thing. My sister, why are you switching off before I send a shout out to my people?
No, I thought you were too emotional, so you forgot.
No. I cannot not forget which side my bread is buttered. So my bread is buttered on the side of Send Studios, and also on the side of Crown Lioness, on the side of Itu Hair Studios, on the side of Hydro Quench, and also on the side of Virtuous Indoni Lodge. With that being said, thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. God bless you. Mwah.